So the topic for today's workshop is illustrate your imagination. I welcome you all for this workshop on behalf of PCU. My name is Akshay Chavan and I'm passionate graphic designer and digital artist. I have completed my master's degree in transport design from MIT Pune with over 3.5 years of combined professional plus freelance experience. My specialties are logo design, digital media design, freehand sketching, digital illustration, and caricature. So, at start, we shall do a one exercise. I will give a prompt or a word on which you have to draw or illustrate that object within 330 seconds or max to max 1 minute. So the first prompt is plant pot. Next is coffee tea mug. Third one is pizza slice. And fourth one is headphones. Hello.
आता तिकडून आहे का नाही हात लावले का? एक मिनिट लक्ष मिळेल.
Hello.
So you can continue.
Any students join, please share your screen. You can enable your cameras. So as we might have drawn this from when we heard that word, we visualize that object in our mind, then we draw this on the paper. Same way, our brain works as fast with the visuals. Here's a
Hey!
code for you. It's a fact that the human brain processes images 60,000 times faster than text, and 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual. When we started learning our from our childhood age, we before we started reading or listening to the alphabet, how it sounds, we have given this visual pictorial books to learn and to have that visual is related to that word, like A for apple, B for ball, We imagine the visuals first as our brain processes that way. Same way, what is an illustration? Anyone from attendee would like to share a thought on this? What is an illustration? So, any idea? So, an illustration is a visual representation of a text or a concept or a process designed for integration to print and digitally published media. Illustration is a visual representation of the text which we usually see on the print media or a digital media to have that connect or to get that message effectively to the person. Similarly, this illustration does not started right now or the few years back. These have been started 15,000 BC in the rockstone and cave paintings area. In that time period, where people used to carve or make marks on the stone to make a painting to show that timings or memories, record that memories. Similarly, in 50 to 100 years back, Egyptian hieroglyphs, where they have carved these human figures with the symbols to give the homage to their ancestors in their memories. And ancient Greeks and Rome illustration have they taken further to the new dimension. In the pottery and frescoes, they have illustrated that time's heroes and the cultural aspects of that time. The ancient legacy of illustration showcases the enduring power of visual storytelling and its ability to connect us with our past. Similarly, when first print press have invented or developed by Jonas Gutenberg, this illustration is available for the mass production at limited quantity in mid 1400 so that people can get the, their hands on it. In 15th century, the etching and engraving are the two major printmaking techniques have been developed which have made this mass production of the illustrations and the knowledge as a education media also have gone far. They have this period's legacy in illustration not only enriched the visual arts but also contributed significantly to scientific understanding, setting the stage of the modern era of illustration. Further, in 19th and 20th century, which is called as a golden age area, where the color print media have been developed and in a good that flourishes the creativity in 21st century where we have a full freedom for this illustration where we can work on the pixels on the, or we can make it on pencil and paper, and we can transfer it to the pixels. And currently we see these 3D illustrations, which adds depth of creativity to the illustration art. And currently we also have this motion graphics techniques to show the creativity and illustrations in a, give it a motion to it. So now we see the different types of illustration types. Editorial illustrations, this we see is in a newspaper, books, magazines, where image is incorporated with the text, which represents the whole essence of the e- what is written on that magazine or the newspaper. Another is technical illustrations, which we see in the user manual or the repair guide for any technical instrument, or to get the, which is easy to understand in a technical aspect of the particular object, cause in images we can't able to get those details, and enables and grasp those values of the particular object. And infographics is the type where words and images are shown to provide with the information of particular subject, which can be easily grasped by the human brain. And concept art, which is you can play with the medium, the imagination, so that it can be futuristic or realistic. And fashion illustrations, before producing or making any cloth clothing brand, they go through this phase where they illustrate these images to get the understanding of the how it will look. And another type is package illustrations, where they shows the what inside the that package, and how it is used, or how it can be used with other aspects. And other is a product advertisement, in which we show the product with their flavors or something, which incorporates a meaning, and what inside, what are the ingredients in that products. These are the 3D illustrations types, which we see nowadays used for various real estate projects, gaming projects. So there are different illustration styles where we can use only the lines to represent or to make the illustration. Anyone can tell what type of illustration style is this? It's a line art. And this is a very famous and current generation favorite style of illustration, anime style of illustration. This is caricature type of illustration where the characteristics of that object or a person have exaggerated to show the essence or the personality of that person. Similarly, is this is the type of cartoon illustration. These are book illustrations, and this is everyone's favorite, the comic style of illustration, where the bubble heads are the main characteristics of this to show the thinking of a object of a person or any superhero or a villain or the person involved in those story. This is modern way of illustrating where mixed media is used. Photos are collaged each other. This is a collage type of illustration. Here the geometric polygons are only used. So this is the poly type of art illustration style. This is a fantasy art illustration style where we can imagine the beyond their feasibility of those particular creatures, the scenery, and the environment. So, what are the benefits of using illustrations in our work or in our daily digital media or advertisement? So, it's very difficult to show the heart functioning or the heart diseases with the actual images. So, easy explanation of the complicated things is easy to explain with improved understanding of the subject. Like here, the coronary artery disease, where clogging of arteries is shown with the fat. Similarly, benefits of illustration are brand identity. Like for McDonald's, we have seen they have this Ronald McDonald's image, which avoids the looking for models or something, and which gives unique identity to the brand. When we look at this clown type of structure, we easily identify this brand is related to that product, and it's easy to convince an audience with the illustrations. For the non-smoking lung, it's a clean and the tissues are well intact to the lungs, like, but in the smoker's lungs, the everything is darkened out and it looks like a erosion of the dot arteries or those veins. Another benefit is effectively demonstrate a point. When we are explaining anything to someone with words, it's hard to digest for that person. But when we use the illustration, we can demonstrate the point effectively. Like these plastic bottles or flask recycle process where bottles which are thrown out are collected and manually sorted. Then they are make the box or out of it crushed and then washed and then regeneration of plastic granules, and this finite semi-finite products is converted into again the bottles or tapes or any object, and it also gives an experience and amusement while looking at it, and a feeling of enjoy or happiness are, and also benefits are the audience engagement. Illustrations are used to engage the audience in a way that they like, they convert into the customers by looking at the illustrations. So another task for all of you is express through illustrations, where I will give you a word, with that you will draw, with that word you will express your thought with that illustration. First is a connection, where you can show the connection of any objects or persons. Second is contrast. Contrast is basically two opposite things we can show, like a dot and a circle. The reflection, we often see that small children behave as like their elders, so we can use that image also, like father is reading the newspaper and child is reading the book. Similarly, you can express through your illustrations what you mean by that word. Last one is transformation, like transforming a seed into a plant, how it will look, a lean person to the healthy person. So where do ideas and inspiration comes from? Anyone of you can tell? First is the nature. Nature is abundant source of information and inspiration for the creativity and the most advancement and the technology which we are using every day. For illustrations, we can take inspiration from them also. Second is art and artist. We we know this person, Kim Jung-gi, very famous for his perspective in this form of art. Then music and literature, while listening to a song, certain kind of emotions or the visionary we create, or literature, when we read the book, we automatically connect those words to the certain kind of vision, like we have read in the first exercise. With object we draw, with what word we draw the illustration. Similarly, that's why we have been told from the childhood age that we should read often. Reading help us to create our imagination power stronger. Another way is personal experiences and emotions. And last one is the dreams and imagination. There are many others also we can inspire from. These are the few main things which help us to in our imagination to build up our creativity, how to use the particular color, particular texture, and particular form in an illustration. So is the our last exercise for the illustration where we are going to do infographic for the how many of you drink tea or made tea once in your life? Can anyone tell me the process of making tea? So the first step is we take all the ingredients like water, milk, tea powder, sugar, and the utensils we need for this. Then we first step is to take that water in the utensil as per the requirement, then that put on the gas. We on the gas, the flames are on, we boil the water, then we add this tea powder and sugar, and at last we add the milk to it. So here's the task: you have to demonstrate this process in the infographics format stepwise. You can use any style like a line art, polygon art, or the 3D or the textures. You can play with the form of this utensils, the cup, and at last you can have a emoji or a smile with the cup or a final product of this process. Are you able to visualize this first? When we visualize this first in our brain, then we can translate those words and interpret in our sketches or drawing. At last of the workshop, we are going to show these masterpieces of ours to everyone. You can show this in the form of comic strip also, with your own interpretation. Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
So here's the conclusion for this workshop is that time is your bigger constraint or ally in the whole process of design or anything you do in your life. Observe and understand more the human psychology because whatever we make and whatever we design is ultimately going through the human psychology. People are going to judge, people are going to comment or criticize or applaud for this. So never stop imagination, keep observing, and just practice more until you find your style of illustration. Thank you. Can we see your illustrations now for the tea making process? Anyone have drawn or made an illustration on this for our first exercise, second exercise, and the final stepwise infographic?
So I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Akshay Chavan for guiding us through illustrations and designs. For this workshop also, I would like to thank him and thank you for all the concepts that you shared with us. How can we imagine? How can we create designs and everything? So a heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, and looking forward to many more such illustrations and workshops from you. Thank you, sir, and thank you to everyone who has joined. Looking forward to seeing you all in our next webinars.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.